Hello students, welcome back to the history class. Today we are going to start chapter 3rd of our social science, which is first farmers and herders. Learning objectives: Neolithic age, from food gatherers to food producer. Brick making, tools, Chalcolithic period, Mehergarh, a case study. Domestication of animals, discovery of wheel, way of life. Daojali, heading an early civilization. Let's warm up. Look at the picture given alongside states its use in the earlier and in present times. Application skills. Agriculture. A discovery of agriculture has a great importance in the life of humans. The man now became a food producer instead of a food gatherer, and thus he began to lead a settled life. He now grew corn, vegetables and fruits near his hut. Domestication. The domestication of animals helped the humans in many ways. Dogs, goats, sheep and cattle were domesticated. These animals supplied milk, meat and skins. Bullocks, donkeys and horses were later used to plow the fields. In these ways, agriculture and domestication brought dramatic changes in the life of humans. Now answer the following questions. A. What was the importance of discovery of agriculture? B. How did the domestication of animals help early humans? Find out the answers from the above paragraph. Neolithic age, from food gatherers to food producers. Towards the end of the Mesolithic age, certain changes had begun in the life of the early humans. Climate was changing and so was their power of observation of things around them. The Neolithic age is considered to have lasted from 8000 to 4000 BCE. The beginning of Neolithic age shows a remarkable change in the life of humans. In this age, the most important development was when they learned to cultivate their own food. We have no evidence how people learnt about food cultivation. They must have probably noticed that when seeds fall on the ground, then new plants start growing on the same spot. This must have given them the idea of growing crops. This change was not a sudden radical change but a gradual one. It took over hundreds of years for them to completely understand the area of cultivating their food and grow crops and to become food producers. They also learned to use the plow to prepare the land for sowing the seeds. They began by cultivating wheat, barley and rice at a number of places. Evidence of this has been found at Mehergarh in present-day Pakistan. Rice cultivation was done in East India as well as Koldiwaha in Uttar Pradesh. The knowledge of cultivation reduced their need to wander from place to place in search of food. They started to settle at one place as they had to tend to their crops, water them and protect them from animal attacks. They started to lead a settled life and began to live in places which were near sources of water like rivers and lakes. This led to the concentration of people at one place. With this, dependence on hunting reduced as agriculture provided them with a good supply of food. Along with this, a number of other changes also came about in the life and lifestyle of human beings. This is the image of reconstruction of a Neolithic house. In this map, you can see important archaeological sites within Indian subcontinent. In the loop, it is widely believed that plows were invented in Mesopotamia, Iraq. They were used to loosen the hard topsoil on the earth, which made it easier to sow the seeds. Domestication of animals. Humans slowly started the domestication of animals like dogs, sheep, goat and cattle. It is believed that the first animal to be tamed was the dog. Dogs helped them in protecting their crops. It is thought that dogs started living close to humans to eat the leftover meat. Their tendency to bark on approach of any animal or person made humans recognize their usefulness as watchdogs. The goat and sheep provided them with milk and wool, while ox were used for transportation. Animals were also used for their meat as they multiplied faster. Therefore, milk and meat were readily available, and this further reduced the need to move from place to place. Humans started to maintain flocks and herds of animals for food, especially for the months when crops did not grow. Brick making. Humans must have learned from some fire accident that if wet clay was kept in fire, it strengthened and retained its shape. This is probably how bricks came into being. Use of bricks to make walls has been found in many early civilizations, which have been unearthed. Discovery of wheel. No one knows how and when the wheel was discovered. Somebody must have observed that a round block of wood was much easier to move than a square block. A rolling log or a piece of wood possibly made him understand that this could be great help to move things rather than drag them over the earth's surface. This must have led to the invention of the wheel. The importance of the wheel. The invention of the wheel is considered as one of the biggest inventions in the human history. It made it easy for people to move logs from one place to another. It helped them to create carts and move loads easily. This also led to the making of pottery for cooking and storing food. Development of the potter's wheel. There was a need to make pots to store water and food. Shaping mud into a pot required a block of wet clay which had to be made hollow from inside. While shaping the clay as a pot, someone may have realized the benefit of rotating the block of clay rather than going around it to shape it. They probably kept the clay on an unused wheel to help rotate the clay block. This possibly led to the development of the potter's wheel, which improved the art of making pottery. This is the image of a potter's wheel. Pottery. The pottery of those days did not consist of the porcelain cups and saucers that you see today. The cultivation of food gave rise to the need for the pots to store and cook food. Earthen pots have been found at several sites from this period. Some of them are even decorated with designs. Clay pots were made by early humans. These clay pots were baked to make them strong. In many places, woven baskets and pits in the ground have been found, which must have been used for storing grains. Think smarter. Early humans buried tools and jewelry with their dead relatives. Why? Tools. Tools of the Neolithic age were better than the earlier Stone Age ones. They were given a finer edge and later handles. Axes, blades, arrows, spearheads, hammers, chisel, pestle, and mortar have been found from this age. Axe was used to clear the land for cultivation, which was the most important development. Pestle and mortar were used for grinding grains. Sickle was used for harvesting. Weighted digging sticks also have been found at a number of places. It may have been used for digging the ground. Arrows were used for hunting. Along with these tools, they also used tools made of bones of animals, which were mainly used in fishing. Now let's have a look at a case study. The Lucy fossil was discovered in 1974 by paleoanthropologist Donald Johnson and a graduate student Tom Gray at the site of Hadar in Ethiopia. Surveying the area, they spotted a small part of an elbow bone. After 2 weeks of excavation of the site, several hundred fragments of bone had been recovered, representing 40% of a single hominid skeleton. Johnson and Gray named this fossil skeleton Lucy after the Beatles' song Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. When compared with the modern human skeleton, Lucy's bones are common, with evidence clearly pointing to bipedality or ability to walk on foot. She belonged to a new species called Australopithecus afarensis and was one of the most important fossils ever discovered. Now let's have a look at the way of life of early humans. With leading a more settled life brought about several other changes in lives of human beings. Since they did not have to worry about finding food all the time, they had time to do other things. This helped them to start forming small communities which gradually grew into villages. As the community became more and more close-knit, they started dividing work amongst themselves. This eventually gave rise to new occupations and divisions of labor. They also formed tribes with their own specific customs and beliefs. Occupations. People in this period engaged in farming, hunting, fishing, pottery making, weaving, dyeing, etc. Weaving. In this age, people learn to make baskets and slowly learn to weave clothes. They must have observed the birds weaving their nest and must have got the idea from there. Painting. Paintings were done on the stones or walls of caves, and these depict their emotions. Scenes of hunting, dancing, processions, and so on have been found on the walls of caves. Dwellings. In the Neolithic age, people began to live in the thatched huts or pit houses, which have been found at a number of places. The structure of the pit houses underwent a gradual change. Some pit houses were built with logs and stones and bricks depending on their availability. Such pit houses have been found at Burzam in present-day Jammu and Kashmir. But not all the people suddenly settled down into farming and living in pit houses. Many tribes continued to live in the jungles and remained hunter and gatherers. Even today, there are certain tribes in different parts of the world which are still surviving on hunting, fishing, gathering food from jungles, and very limited farming. Religion. Early humans were scared of lightning and thunder. They must have suffered from fire, storms, or lightning and heavy rains, and they did not know the actual cause for these natural phenomena. It is possible that this led them to believe that these were powers beyond their control, which could cause damage to their lives. Since they feared these powers, they gradually began to worship these forces of nature like sky, rain, wind, and sun as gods. They hope to appease them and believe that these forces will not harm them if they are worshipped. Chalcolithic period. The period between 4000 to 2000 BCE is known as the Chalcolithic period. This is the period when it is believed humans started to use metal. Copper is considered to be the first metal to be used by people. The Chalcolithic period is thus the period when both copper and stone were brought into use by humans. Daujali Harding, an early civilization. Daujali Harding is located in the Tejpur district of Assam. Signs of human settlements of the Neolithic age were found here along the Brahmaputra Valley. The excavations from this region have shown some tools of different shapes. The peculiar shapes were those of broad cutting edges, wedge blades, and grooved hammer stones. The excavation of Daujali Harding yielded pottery of greyish color depicting basket and cord impressions on the outer surfaces. Other stone was seen in the form of corn crushers, pestles, etc. Jaded stone was also found there. Case study. Mehergarh, a case study of an early civilization of the northwest. It is one of the most important Neolithic site which was discovered in 1974. Located near the Bolan Pass, which lies to the west of Indus River. It is presently in Balochistan, which is a part of Pakistan. Evidence of growing wheat and barley has been found in this area. This region is considered to be the oldest region where farming was done by early humans. The site has revealed that humans settled here for a long period and their progress is evident in different phases. The earliest human settlement of this region estimated to be from 8000 to 5500 BCE shows bones of wild animals buried deep down or on level 1. Mud brick houses have been found here. Most of the buildings were divided into a number of compartments. Various burial places have been found where a number of things like tools, ornaments, beads, bangles, etc. have been recovered which show they believed in life after death. Ornaments of lapis lazuli, seashell and polished copper have been found here. The second and third levels are considered to be the period between 5500 to 3500 BCE. This level shows the rearing of animals as the bones found are of cattle, sheep and goat. The use of metal also began. Copper items and ornaments were found from the site in addition to the stones and beads. Pottery and button-like seals were also found from this site. The uppermost level is estimated to be between 3500 to 2000 BCE. Some pottery artifacts and designs with figures of men and women were recovered from this level. Most of the women were shown with children, which shows the concept of family was introduced. Customs and beliefs. It is believed that the customs included burial of the dead in many parts. The combined burial of human and goats indicates that they believed in a journey after death, when the person would need food. Fact file. Human settlements of thousands of years back were normally close to rivers as they required water for drinking and farming purposes. In modern times, the remains of such settlements are normally found buried under the surface of the earth. Most probably, they were destroyed due to floods and other such natural calamities. Food, floods, Floods cause destruction and even bring sediments which cover up the structure. Value and life skills. When you visit a historical monument, what are the things you will not do? First, scribble on the walls of the monument. Second, spit here and there. Third, litter the place around it with packets of eatables. 4. Note down the important information you gather about the monument. 5. Take photographs of the monument. Recapitulation. Towards the end of the Mesolithic age, certain changes had begun in the life of early humans. The most important development was when they learned to cultivate their own food. Humans slowly started the domestication of animals such as dogs, sheep, goat, and cattle. The invention of wheel considered as one of the important inventions in the human history. It made it easy for early humans to move logs from one place to another. Tools of the Neolithic age were better than the earlier Stone Age tools. Thank you class. Let's meet in the next chapter.